Oh wow, it's not much lighting here, hang on. Oh, that's still not great. Hey guys. So, I am at uni. I'm outside right now because I can't. I can't do this inside because probably all the other students will think I'm talking to myself. Clearly I'm not. Well, I could be. But whatever. Anyway, yeah, I'm at uni and it's after 10 p.m. and I know you're not really going to be able to see this because there's not much lighting out here, obviously, but you don't necessarily need to see me, you just need to be able to hear my words. So I had a thought just now, or just a few minutes ago, while I was working on my assignment. So this thought was kind of spurred on by a memory that I have from my first year of uni. I'm in my third year now. So anyway, this particular experience in my first year, basically what happened is I was in my forensics psych lecture and I forget how it came up exactly, how it was even relevant to what we were discussing at the time in this lecture, but my lecturer mentioned something about autism, and I forget his exact words, but he said that some people who commit certain crimes like murder or robbery or rape and whatever else, I won't forget this remark that he made because it really stuck out to me. He said that sometimes those people can be autistic, which sometimes someone can do something really horrible or really awful and they do happen to be autistic, but the two things aren't necessarily related, even though you have an autistic person who has commit this really horrible crime. Just because he or she has done that doesn't mean that the reasons, or it doesn't mean that they've done it purely because they're autistic, or doesn't necessarily have to have anything to do with their autistic identity or their autistic traits. Sometimes you just have someone who does something awful and unlawful, and on the other hand they just happen to be autistic. So but the fact that they're autistic doesn't necessarily have anything to do with the crime that they are responsible for. If that makes sense. Does that make sense? I'm so brain dead right now. But anyway, that's what he said. And I remember another comment that he said. He was talking about the symptoms and the characteristics of autistic people, and he said that autistic people lack empathy, which is a huge myth. surrounding autism and or autistic people, and let me be the first to tell you it is not true. Like, and this saying that autistic people have no empathy whatsoever is just so incredibly wrong and ignorant, and honestly I think that anyone who says that, the very likely probability is that they have never met anyone who is autistic. It's just most autistic people have a huge, like, an incredibly huge amount of empathy that sometimes it can overwhelm them, and they have a hard time expressing it or showing it, or they don't show it in the same way that autistic people, that neurotypical people show it. And so those different ways of expressing empathy, unfortunately, it causes people to perceive autistic people as apathetic, or just, which is pretty much the opposite of empathetic. You know, because sometimes when you have a different way of showing an emotion or a feeling, or when you just have a different way of expressing yourself to the norm, people don't take to that very well. And so it causes people to kind of think that you're this really cold, detached or unfeeling person when you're really not. Yeah, that's something that really frustrates me, because we don't lack empathy. I'm telling you now. Like, I'm just using myself for an example right now, because hang on, I'll be back.